Monday, October 9th, 2017. It's now 6 p.m. The meeting of the Klein ISD Board of Trustees is now open. Representing the quorum tonight are Ms. Kathy Arellano, Mr. Ronnie Anderson, Mr. Stephen Simshak, and Mr. Rick Mann, as well as myself, Bill Hilton. As provided by the Texas Government Code, the Board of Trustees will now be in closed session in accordance with sections 551.071, private consultation with the Board's attorney regarding all matters authorized by law, including Board of Governance. 551.072, discussing purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. 551.074, discussing employment, evaluation, or discipline of personnel, including Board of Governance and including superintendent evaluation and contract. 551.076, discussing security personnel and devices. 551.082, discussing disciplinary matters or complaints regarding school children and/or school district employees. 551.0821, discussing personally identifiable information about public school students. 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. Board of Trustees will reconvene in public at approximately 7 p.m.
I'm have your attention, please. Good evening. It's now 7 p.m. and the meeting of the Klein ISD Board of Trustees is back in session. If you have not done so already, I ask that you please silence your cell phones so we may be able to conduct the meeting. Thank you all for coming. Welcome. Always glad to have the public come out and show up here. We're a little district of about 53,000 students, 6,800 employees, and more than 25,500 active volunteers. And all of us are dedicated to one thing, making sure that every student enters with a promise and exits with a purpose. So all of us working together, board members, staff, parents, students, that's the only way we're going to achieve it. It's the only way I really want to achieve it. So you'll notice tonight's on agenda, a school district resident, employee, vendor, or potential vendor has an opportunity to address the Board of Trustees for 4 specific reasons. So if anyone in the audience would like to address the Board of Trustees for any of those 4 listed reasons, would you please come forward and register with our board secretary, Mr. Anderson. Thank you. Tonight, Mr. Simshak will lead us in prayer, followed by Scout Tyler Moore, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag and the flag of Texas. Mr. Simshak.
I'm going to be reading this prayer off of my device. I've never done this. I feel kind of artificial, but it's part of our nature now. Okay, please join me in prayer. We are blessed, and we live in a time of abundance. However, we have turned wants into needs. In the book, we know that periods of feast are followed by periods of famine. Allegorically, in opposition to our current feast of things, we are in a period of spiritual famine, where the lessons and values that have led us for centuries have been cast aside for new thinking that allows for all behavior to be considered valid and acceptable. Just as the worm turns, the day will come when heavenly retribution is demanded. Let us hope that we have the resolve to resist the temporal urges of the easy life, such that collectively we have the resolve to reform and return to the true path of life, one that follows your dictates and desires, Lord. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, Tom. School board meetings must be conducted in accordance with strict Texas law. For example, we're not allowed to vote on any item that is not already listed on the agenda. In fact, we may not publicly discuss items that do not appear on an agenda. And all of our voting must be done in public. We can privately discuss the items especially when they're regarding personnel, discipline of students, acquisition of school sites, matters of school security, and specific items requiring legal advice. However, the final vote must be in complete view of the public. Please understand this meeting is for the board to have discussion, deliberate, and take action. I would ask that you refrain from any comment during these voting and during these discussions. The superintendent, in consultation with the board president, prepares the agenda and notice of the meeting, which are distributed to each trustee 1 week before the Monday night meeting. So if any of the individual trustees here have any questions, we're able to discuss it with the superintendent and get clarification on any of these issues. So many items that you see tonight, we may be moving through quickly. That's because we've already had a week to discuss them without any further questions or discussion. We deeply appreciate the trust that you've placed inside of us, and we'll continue to work diligently with the administration and school to take care of your children best. Tonight, we'd like to begin by honoring our current or former fine arts contributors and school athletes. So if you are or ever been a school athlete or a fine arts performer or contributor, would you please stand now so we can recognize you? Thank you for all you've done. Hope you enjoy your time, your extracurricular activities during school. I know we all did when we were there many, many years ago. Dr. Champion.
Yes, it is my pleasure to welcome up Principal of Frank Elementary, Eve Messina. She's going to share some students and teachers and a teacher with us. I had the opportunity of being at Frank last week, where you wouldn't believe what students can create out of cardboard.
Good evening, President Pilkington, members of the board, Dr. Champion, Mrs. Spalding, and guests. My name is Teresa Scardino. I'm the Associate Principal at Frank. And I have the great pleasure of introducing to you two outstanding students from fifth grade at Frank Elementary. Let me first begin with Miss Grayson Cater. Grayson is accompanied tonight by her parents, Christy and Brian Cater, her younger sister, Quinn, who is a first grader at Frank, her younger brother, Hudson, who is 3, and her aunt, Kim Rich. Grayson is a delightful young lady who has been a student at Frank since kindergarten. She is on the All-A Honor Roll and is enrolled in the Accelerated Math program. When asked which was her favorite subject, Grayson just couldn't decide. J.K. Rowling is her favorite author, and she loves reading the Harry Potter books, but she also likes math because it's always come easy for her. Grayson keeps busy with many activities both in and out of school. She has been on the Frank Math team for the past 3 years. She's been in Destination Imagination and the Frank Running Club. She participates in the choir and is a 5th grade class representative. Grayson has a passion for Broadway musicals, and outside of school, she stays busy with her theater group, where she spends time singing and acting. She has acted in several plays, including The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Annie, and Peter Pan. She currently is in a stage play entitled Little Red Robin Hood. Grayson is a goal-oriented student who one day plans to study at Juilliard and perform on Broadway. She hopes to achieve her ultimate goal of winning the Tony Award for the Best Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. With her drive and thirst for life, I believe she can do it. Grayson's teachers say that she leads with honesty and has a knack for communicating information and ideas with others. Her self-awareness empowers her to be responsive and impactful at school and in the community. Miss Grayson Cater.
Ms. Scardino, can we have her family stand and let us recognize them also?
Absolutely.
Please.
Next, I would like you to meet Mr. Alejandro Michelina. Alejandro is accompanied tonight by his parents, Gloriana and Demetrio Michelina, and his sister, Valentina, who is a 9th grader at Klein High School. Alejandro has been at Frank since 1st grade when he met Grayson. In fact, they starred in their first play together when Grayson was Cinderella and Alejandro was Prince Charming. Alejandro is still a charming young man who's easy to talk to and considerate of others. He is an all-A honor roll student who is also enrolled in the accelerated math program. Alejandro tells me that math is his favorite subject because he likes a good challenge and he likes showing his work. It's just the way my mind works, he says. Alejandro has participated in the math club for the past 3 years, is a member of the choir, the safety patrol, and is a 5th grade class representative. Alejandro's teachers describe him as a forward thinker with a kind-hearted disposition. He is revered as a leader among his peers and is quick to offer assistance to anyone in need. When not in school, Alejandro stays busy competing in swim competitions with the Premier Aquatics Club at Klein. Alejandro has already competed at state swim tournaments and tells me that butterfly is his best stroke. He hopes to win a gold medal in the Olympics one day and then attend Texas A&M University to study mechanical engineering like his dad. May I present Alejandro Michelina and his family.
I am honored to present Whitney Turner. She's here tonight with her husband, Steve, and I was his principal when he was a student at Greenwood, and her sons, Davis, who is a 2nd grader, and Holden, who is 2, her parents, Donna and Pete Lentz, and her mother-in-law, Lisa Turner. Whitney has been...
Please, let's
please
make
stand.
him
Please
ready.
stand.
Come on, get him up. Yeah.
Whitney has been teaching for 10 years, all of which have been at Frank Elementary. She is a product of Klein ISD schools, attending Tice, Earhart, Dory, and Klein High School. She is also a proud A&M Aggie. Currently, she's a 3rd grader teaching math, science, and social studies. Whitney was the creator of the Klein Strong Shirts, which raised thousands of dollars for Klein families affected by Hurricane Harvey. She believes that learning should always be active, purposeful, engaging, but above all, enhanced by collaboration and teamwork. Whitney instills in her students that learning is forever, and she thoughtfully disrupts the status quo at Frank through innovation and the igniting of a school-wide passion for learning. Her colleagues appreciate her creativity and her ability to develop learning opportunities that transform instruction at Frank. Most recently, she was on the team of innovators who put together the Frank Project Runway Global Cardboard Challenge, where students were challenged to create and model wearable cardboard costumes, clothing, and accessories. This amazing event brought national recognition to Frank from the Global Cardboard Challenge organization and Imagination.org. Whitney is truly a promise to purpose investor.
I have some little tokens for you, Grayson. I want you to know that I'm very impressed with Juilliard because that was my goal. And so all that you're doing, you're going to get there. What an inspiration. And you make me feel very confident in the future. Also, Alejandro, you are amazing. I could never swim. It took 4 years. But with all that you're doing, you will be in the Olympics. And then last but not least, Miss Turner. They dream like they dream because of teachers like you. I love the creativity. And I was trying to see maybe if there was a way I could figure out how to put that as a costume for a drill team or something and be able to move with it. So congratulations on such an honor. And we love, this is why Klein is as good as it is. It's amazing.
What about parents? Why don't you wait and let parents take a picture?
There's some families, yeah.
Here, let's do a quick picture with so the parents can get all everybody up here.
Wait one second. Do we have one coming? Okay.
Next up, Clay Huggins and Alexandra Lammers are going to introduce students and a teacher from Kleb Intermediate.
All right. Good evening, President Pilkington, members of the board, Dr. Champion, Mrs. Spalding, and guests. I have the honor of introducing two outstanding Kleb students, and then Assistant Principal Alexandra Lammers will introduce Kleb Intermediate's Teacher of the Year. First, we have Alishba Nathani. Accompanying Alishba are her mom and dad, Muhammad and Sarwat Nathani. If y'all will please stand. Alishba has a wide variety of accomplishments at Kleb Intermediate, including receiving awards in the Klein academic competition in the areas of spelling and number sense and problem solving. She was a finalist in the Kleb Spelling Bee, and at our end of the year awards, she got the Excellence in Math, Science, and the A Honor Roll Award. She also participates in our Theater Kiss Club program in speech and debate. She's on my principal's advisory committee. She also participated in our district's strategic planning committee. Outside of class, Alishba also enjoys studying Arabic. Alishba's teachers say that as a campus leader, she is relationship-driven, showing a we not me attitude, and is not content with learning for herself, but seeks to help every single one of her classmates to be able to master their learning targets. Alishba Nathani. All right, and next we have Hudson Limke. Accompanying Hudson are his mom and dad, Brian and Ashley Limke, as well as his brother and his grandparents, and apparently like half of the 8th grade Kleb Intermediate boys. So if you guys want to stand and be recognized. Come on. Last year, Hudson won end-of-year awards at Kleb Intermediate for excellence in science, math, ELA, and the All-A Honor Roll. He's also members of the Math Club, the Kleb football team, the Spanish Club. He's competed in the Klein academic competition both in 6th and 7th grades. Outside of school, Hudson's the president of Alpha Charity League and plays tournament baseball and is involved in a Bible study. He's a very busy man. Hudson's teachers say that as a student leader, he is a forever learner, and he's always seeking ways to improve and grow, both inside the classroom and out. Hudson Limke.
Good evening. I would like to introduce Kleb Intermediate's Teacher of the Year, Joan Brandt. With Miss Brandt tonight are her husband, Carl, and her daughter, Megan Blakey. Please stand to be recognized. After graduating from Sam Houston State, Joan came to the Klein ISD, where she has taught for the past 8 years. She is currently serving as the U.S. History team leader at Kleb. But Joan is so much more than that. She serves as the District Transform Academy teacher, has worked with both the District Textbook Selection Committee as well as the Scope and Sequence Committee. She's helped start the Bear Cub Den on our campus, and in addition to leading the U.S. History PLC, is a member of the Continuous Learner Huddle. Joan dedicates each day to making sure her students are learning and going above and beyond what they are capable. Joan's positive attitude is contagious. She is one of the many Klein ISD family members that was affected by Hurricane Harvey, receiving 27 inches of water in her home. Even through this tragedy, Joan was eager to get back to work and be there for her students as they go through this difficult time. Joan was featured in the Dallas Morning News for her dedication and ability to get back to normal for her students. Joan tells her students each year that they are her adopted children for the year, and that she will hold them accountable for their actions. Not only does Joan say this, but it is revealed through her actions each day. Kleb Intermediate is fortunate to have Joan as a member of our school family. Joan Brandt.
Ms. Brandt, I'll start with you. Congratulations. Most importantly, thank you for the way you plant seeds for these kids, not only by just what you're doing on campus, but the example you're setting off campus as well. Those are things that the kids are going to remember, the stories that they're going to remember hearing and telling, and you're going to be one of those teachers that I'm thankful that my son goes to Kleb and has people like you around there that these kids will remember in future years. I'll remember my junior high teacher, Miss Brandt. So it's an honor for me tonight to give that to you in recognition of your hard work, and thank you for what you do for all these kids. So thank you. Alishba, I was very impressive to hear all about what you do. Very analytical mind, smart girl, all the things you're involved with. And on top of that, you're inviting your other friends and classmates in to learn with you. That's a trait that not a lot of people have. That's going to take you a long way in life. I'm looking forward to hearing more about you and your more progress, and I bet we will honor you in another way as your years go on throughout the school district. Very appreciative, and I'm very glad I got to meet you tonight. Now, this is special tonight when I got to see on the agenda that Huddy was being honored. Our family celebrated. He's one of the kids I've been coaching for a number of years, and it brought joy to our whole family's heart. And the things that you do, all of us who know you, we know how hard you work and what a perfectionist you are. For people who don't know you, you always do it with a smile. You do it with a great attitude. You do it with a total integrity. And your name goes before you just like your brother's names do, just like your dad's name, just like your granddad's name. And so your friends are here tonight because they're celebrating that Limke boy. And just keep doing what you're doing, Huddy. I couldn't be more thankful for giving you this honor tonight, more so than anything you've accomplished on the ball field. This is a big deal. I'm very proud of you.
let's take the pictures first, we've got two down here. It's nice. Good. One more.
Wait.
This is the second link before the
All right.
Mr. Pilkington, we do have a couple of administrative introductions to make as well.
Excellent, please.
Yes, Amber Snyder is here. Amber, will you stand up? She is our new Director of Special Education. Introduce any guests who are with you tonight, Amber. Let's give Amber a round of applause for herself. Amber, welcome.
I have my husband, Brad Snyder, and my daughter, Bailey Snyder, with me this evening. We are super excited to be a part of the teaching and learning team, ensuring that students and campuses receive support so that we are working towards a promise to purpose for every student. Super excited. I'm thankful to Jenny and Kirsten for inviting me to join this dynamic team. I look forward to being a P2P investor right alongside everybody. Super excited, and just one last thank you for allowing me to join this team. I'm honored to be a part of Klein ISD.
Thank you all.
We're glad to have you. Thrilled. And finally, speaking of thrilled, our new principal of Earhart Elementary School, Linda Galicia, is here. Linda, please stand. Welcome. Introduce any guests who are with you tonight, Linda.
I want to first thank you, Dr. Champion, for giving me this opportunity to serve as principal of Earhart Elementary. I am eager. I wanted to introduce my family. I have my husband, Lee, and my entourage, and my two daughters, also my parents, as well as my sister, and also I am privileged to have a support team of former co-workers, especially my former principal, Katie Turner, is here, as well as my new partner in crime, Joan Evans, as well as former support of past co-workers at Cron Elementary. Again, I am delighted to be a P2P investor, and I am excited where we're going to go with at Earhart.
Let's have all those cool people stand up. Come on, guys. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Mr. President, you know that we are working hard in Klein ISD to build a culture of leadership, and these two Promise to Purpose investors are key members of our leadership team.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Well, as board president, I often get to look ahead in the agenda, and I just kind of looked at this next one. I'm still kind of blown away by it, but how about we let our longest term serving person, Mr. Rick Mann of 25 years, would you please do our next presentation?
Thank you, Mr. President, Board, Dr. Champion, Ms. Foley.
Would you like to join me, Mr. Shepard?
I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to have a couple of offhand comments, too. I follow our president and not following the script on everything. We have a proclamation tonight that reads, whereas Mr. Eugene B. Shepard was contracted by the Klein ISD in the year 1968. Did I say that clear enough? 1968. As the district's external finance advisor. Mr. Shepard began his career in the municipal finance business in October of 1958 with the firm of Edelman, Pollock, and Fosdick. He concluded his business career while serving as the managing director of the municipal finance team at RBC Capital Markets, Houston, Texas. And whereas Mr. Shepard's almost 50 years of service to Klein ISD has spanned across 5 different Klein ISD superintendents, Dr. Simpson, Dr. Collins, Dr. Surratt, Dr. Kane, and Dr. Champion. And I'm going to interject right here, for those of you that are not aware, Dr. Kane is with us tonight in the back row back here. During Mr. Shepard's tenure as the district's financial advisor, enrollment increased by over 50,000 students. That means he started when Klein was about 3,000 students strong. 10 different bond elections were successfully conducted, totaling almost $1.9 billion, B with a B, billion dollars, and the district saved millions of dollars due to his expertise in debt structuring. Now therefore it be resolved that September the 13th be officially designated as Eugene B. Shepard Day in Klein, Texas, in recognition of his service to the Klein ISD, its students, and that he be accorded all the privileges and honors appropriate to the occasion. Now I'm going to go off script just for a minute because I had the distinct pleasure 13 years ago of traveling to New York with Mr. Shepard, Dr. Kane, and Mr. Petrick, our chief financial officer. And we met with the senior leadership team of Moody's Investor Services. Now, not the regional people in Dallas, but the senior people that own Moody's. And then we met with Standard & Poor's senior team. And our roles were Dr. Kane was going to talk about the district, I was going to talk about the community, and Thomas was going to talk about the finances. And at both Investor Services, the Investor Services people, all they wanted to talk about was Gene Shepard and what quality we had in Gene Shepard. So it's now my privilege to formally introduce, he took a new job. He took a new job. My privilege to introduce Mr. Gene Shepard, the newly appointed Chief Gardener at 5020 Cedar Creek Drive. Mr. Shepard.
Could I have a few minutes?
Please, please.
This relationship that I have had with Klein schools didn't happen overnight. It was designed very early on in the early 70s by a superintendent that I got to know and appreciate greatly as being a world leader. When you look at Klein schools, you all, and I can say this now because I'm no longer directly involved with you, I'm not your financial consultant. You all don't know how good you are. And you've got some guests tonight that know a little bit about the school district, and I think they would agree with me. Don Collins hired me, and there should be a management study done of this issue because it's a study in leadership, and it's something that we all can take advantage of. This man came to Klein when there were less than 2,500 students. He probably was one of the longest serving superintendents in Texas schools. He had many opportunities to go other places. He stayed with Klein. Klein at the time was a truck farming community, very little growth. The memorial builders built out in the memorial area, and they came up here because of the scenic trees and whatnot. Don instituted the German Festival. He introduced naming the schools after the German families. There was a transition in those days from the traditional families to fast-growing people were coming in with Exxon and whatnot, and it was seamless. I'll never forget it, one of the first German festivals, all in German, of course. They read out all the founding names, Hildebrandt and Kaiser and the whole group. And they had the family stand up, and there was an old woman, she must have been 83, my age, next to me, old. She said she was so proud to be recognized, and so this transition occurred from a rural district to a big, bustling suburban district overnight, and it was seamless. I have been honored to be involved with you all, and I give great thanks to all of you that have made this happen. And Tom Petrick set me up tonight, I think, for this, because he didn't really tell me all that was going to go on. But let me introduce a few guests that are in the crowd, representing Bracewell and Jonathan Frells, our bond counsel. His daddy has been a long, long friend of mine, and Ellen, as you know, one of the leading school attorneys, as is Jonathan. One of my very early superintendents, when he was superintendent of Lamar Consolidated Independent School District, Ron Kalos, and is now in the industry along with Debbie Jones. Stand up, Debbie. Ron and Debbie probably have purchased more Klein bonds than any other single firm. So they know the district well, and they sell well, don't they? And of course, Dr. Kane, what an honor it is for you, sir, to come, because you were cut from the mold of Donald R. Collins, and I've observed your talents over the years, and you have done a superb job for the benefit of the children and the parents and the teachers. Melissa Zepps, I saw Melissa. Where's Melissa? Stand up.
Yes.
And then my sweetheart, who won't come in, but you have to come in. This is the best finance staff there is in the business.
It's true.
And Dan, I told you earlier, it's not broke, so you don't have to fix it. With people like this who make this district the strength that it is. You all really shouldn't probably have the strong investment grade ratings that you have, but you have it because of the operations, the tenure. I love to tell the rating companies, just look at page 2 or 3 and look at the tenure, not only of the staff of the administration, but look at the board, how long they've been there. There's something going on good because there's no turnover in staff, there's no turnover in board. Let's see, and then last but not least, my associates who have made me look really good over the years, Matt Dustin, Misael Flores, stand up, Clarence Greer, and Chris Parker, and I saved the beauty to the last, Stephanie Henning, and you might remember that last name. Glenn Henning has been a member of this board and president of this board. I don't have the words to express myself adequately, so I'll just say thank you very much.
Brett.
Let's get the whole board.
Yep.
Judy Ramato's here. She's going to present our Alumni Award.
Dr. Champion, President Pilkington, board members, Ms. Spalding, and guests, I'm pleased to provide you with some highlights about this month's alumni honoree, Judge Dan Hind, nominated by George N. Reitmeyer and Rick Mann. Dan graduated, can I call you Dan?
Sure.
He's a judge, you know. You got to ask those things. Dan graduated summa cum laude from Klein Forest in 1989, where he was a National Merit Finalist, drum major of the marching band, and a member of the swim team. After high school, he attended Texas A&M University, graduating magna cum laude and earning his degree in electrical engineering. He received the Buck Wyra Spirit Award for student leadership his senior year. After college, Dan entered the University of Texas School of Law. He served as an articles editor for the Texas Law Review and received his Doctor of Jurisprudence with honors in 1997. Following law school, he clerked for U.S. District Judge Sim Lake before joining Vinson & Elkins, where he practiced trial law for several years. Dan was appointed judge of the 269th District Court of Harris County in November of 2008. He is board certified in civil trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. He is a member of the Bar of the Supreme Court of the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Federal Circuit, and the United States District Courts for the Southern, Northern, and Eastern Districts of Texas. He is also a member of the College of the State Bar of Texas. As a lawyer and now as a judge, Dan has involved himself in a number of bar and community activities. He is a member of the State Bar's Pattern Jury Charge Oversight Committee and also serves on the Houston Bar Association's Judicial Polls Committee. Dan is joined tonight by his wife, Rosanna, his children, David and Ann, his father, Steve, and his sister, Missy Cole, also a Klein Forest graduate in 1991. Would you all please stand? I'm sure that you will agree that Judge Hind is a proud example of a Klein student that exited with a purpose. Please join me in honoring Judge Dan Hind as this month's alumni honoree.
It's my understanding that last month you all honored Lieutenant Colonel Dehanya Hunt, a very, very dear friend of mine. And anyone who knows Dehanya knows that those are shoes that no one can fill, but I'll do my best. First of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Reitmeyer and Mr. Mann for nominating me. I have not grown out of the practice of calling my elders from my school days Mr. and Mrs. Doesn't matter how many times you tell me to call you Georgianne or Rick, it's still going to be Mrs. Reitmeyer.
And we call you Danny, so okay.
That's right, that's right. And before I say anything else, I'd be remiss if I didn't say happy anniversary to my lovely wife.
Oh.
It is a great honor to be here. I have much affection for Klein Independent School District. I have so many memories of the formative years of my life. For example, I remember when Klein Forest was the largest high school under one roof in the state of Texas. When Klein Oak was the new high school in the district. I remember swim meets at the Klein High School natatorium. I remember when all three high school marching bands, and there were only three, all three high school marching bands wore the same uniform, just different colors, including the furry bear hats that you see the Queen's Palace Guard wears. Anyway, but more formative were the lessons I learned while I was a student in this district. I had so many great teachers. Mr. Shepard was so right about how good y'all have it, and one of the things that y'all have are an amazing faculty of teachers over the years and when I grew up. But there were three that I really want to mention right now because I would not be at this podium without any of my teachers, but particularly these three because their influence still guides me. First, I want to mention my 11th grade English teacher, Naomi Finette. That's one N and two T's. Everyone who took her class knew that. With Mrs. Finette, good enough was not enough. I started the year thinking it was totally unfair that she graded me harder than some of the other kids in the class. But at the end of the year, I recognized why. Because she didn't want me to just settle for good enough. She pushed me and guided me, and I still carry so many lessons from her because she didn't let me just be good enough. The next would be my high school band director, Paul Warcello, who was my teacher all 4 years I was in high school. The school district honored him a few years ago when he retired by naming the Fine Arts Wing at Klein Forest after him. But what I learned from Mr. Warcello was dedication and so many leadership skills. I can't even start counting them right now. But most of all, it was to seek joy in what you do. Enjoy it. Look for that. And put everything into getting the most out of the things that you put your efforts into. And the other lesson I learned from him was that leadership is about service. And that's a lesson that's often overlooked by people, believe me, I know, in the public sector or elected officials. But leadership is about service. And Mr. Warcello is the one who installed that in me. Finally, I want to talk about my 5th grade teacher. She taught me that I am responsible for all of my actions, good or bad. No one else can be blamed for them. No one else can take credit for them. She taught me that hard work is its own reward and that education should be my top priority. And that was a lesson I carried through all the way to law school. Everything I did through school was, okay, education first, then socializing and everything. My 5th grade teacher was my mother, Sue Hind. Excuse me, I didn't realize I was going to get broken up over this. Mom passed away in June after a career of 38 years teaching students. You talk about entering with a promise and exiting with a purpose. I can't tell you how many hundreds of children entered her school classroom in 4th and 5th grade at Kaiser and Greenwood Forest Elementary and exited with purposes. And so many of them probably have already been at this podium before me. All that I am, I owe to my mother and my dad. And so, with your permission, I'd like to dedicate this honor to her. But it is really a recognition of her more than anything that y'all have honored me today. So I just want to say, this is for you, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Hind. And Mr. Mata will also present the TASB Stand Up for Public Education Award.
Are the Houston Food Bank representatives here? There they are.
Yes.
Great, come on up. While they're coming up, I'll start telling you a little bit about them. Klein ISD nominated the Houston Food Bank as this month's Stand Up for Texas Public Schools honorees. They are represented tonight by Nicole Lander, the Director of Outreach Services, and Kiana Anderson, the School Programs Manager. The Houston Food Bank works tirelessly to assist our students and teachers and our parents. For example, our students are beneficiaries of the Backpack Buddy program, which provides nutritious, child-friendly food for students to take home for the weekends. During last school year, the food bank served 16 Klein ISD campuses and provided a total of 8,483 backpacks. That's food for 235 students each week and includes 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and 3 snacks. The approximate value of the food provided last year is $16,000. Our teachers also benefited from the Teachers Aid program for school supplies. Teachers are allowed to shop once every 3 months to select from donated items based on their grade level and curriculum needs. 17 teachers from 4 campuses were able to shop for more than $2,500 in school supplies for their students in need. To come full circle, the Houston Food Bank graciously taught a 6-part Cooking Matters series for parents that attended the Klein Intermediate Parent University. Each of the 2-hour classes included topics related to grocery shopping, food budgeting, and nutrition during April and May of last year. At the end of each class, participants took home a bag of groceries they could use to recreate the healthy recipes for their home-cooked meals. I wish I would have known about that. Recently, the Houston Food Bank reached out to Klein teachers, providing more than 300 teachers with a semi-truckload of school supplies, and the pictures from that are right up on the screen. That just happened last week, and we really thank you for that. We are proud to recognize the Houston Food Bank for their vision, their promise, and their purpose in supporting the students, staff, and parents of Klein ISD. Thank you for standing up for Texas Public Schools.
Thank you all so much.
All right, thank you, Houston Food Bank. Okay, now's our time to recognize our scouts in the audience. We'll start with you, Mr. Moore, and if there's any other scouts present, ask your name, troop number, school, and what badge you're going for.
Hello, my name is Tyler Moore. I'm in Troop 78. I go to Klein Oak High School, and I'm working on communication.
Awesome. Okay, if there's no other students, no other scouts, this is the point when we're going to actually take an intermission in our meeting, allow you the chance to meet with the trustees. We're going to get up, come in front. If y'all would like to line up to your right, my left of the podium over there, the trustees will come up front. Chance to say hello. Thank you. Okay, may I have your attention, please? We will now continue our meeting with citizen inquiry. Mr. Anderson, do we have anyone out in the audience who'd like to sign up?
Yes, we have Mr. Wallace Keys, who has registered, and that is all.
Mr. President, point of order, I'd like the minutes to note that Mr. Mann had to step away from the meeting.
Okay, thank you, duly noted. Okay, just need to read one thing first. Approximately 20 minutes of each regular meeting is allocated to citizen inquiries. After registering with the board secretary, a school district resident, employee, vendor, or potential vendor shall have an opportunity to address the board of trustees for the 4 specific purposes as dictated by the state laws governing open meetings. To discuss an item that appears on the agenda, to make a request for specific factual information, to ask for a recitation of existing policy, and to redress grievances. In accordance with the law, no deliberation, discussion, or decision will be made other than to consider a proposal to place a subject on the agenda for a subsequent meeting, unless the subject is listed on the board agenda, in which case it may be discussed by the board. Factual information only in regard to a citizen inquiry may be shared at any point by the superintendent. A written response will be provided. Oral comments are limited to 5 minutes in length unless extended by a majority of the trustees and must not mention any individuals by name, position, or contain any personally identifiable reference. Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Keys?
Can you say one thing?
Yes.
So, so you're here speaking on behalf of yourself?
Yes, and I have counsel.
Okay, okay. Given the subject, do you wish to discuss this in open forum, or would you wish to go in closed session?
Can I go in closed session?
It's your
I
option.
would like to go in closed session.
Okay.
So the time is now. You want to go close? Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
So, as provided by the Texas Government Code, the Board of Trustees will now go into closed session in accordance with sections 551.071, private consultation with the board's attorney regarding all matters as authorized by law, including board governance, and 551.074, discussing employment, evaluation, or discipline of personnel, including board governance and including superintendent evaluation and contract. Time is now 8:15. Good evening. Now 8:55 p.m. Board of Trustees back in session. First item for consideration.
Wait, do we have reports?
No, report, yeah, sorry. We'll be, actually, poison items, sorry. We'll begin with reports for the strategic framework. Dr.
Yes,
Champion.
indeed. It is our honor. Dr. Jenny McGowan and I will be bringing a report around our strategic framework, specifically focusing on reimagined learning. And so tonight we want to ensure that once again we focus on our strategic framework, specifically on our strategic priorities of reimagine learning, build community, and cultivate talent. Each of the next 3 months we'll be taking one of these and updating the board with a number of items that are related to this. We believe this is important. We talk to our administrators all the time about a quote from Rooney and Brown that if we don't use this framework in our daily work, the entire vision is placed to the side and forgotten. The strategic design needs to be a document that all leaders embrace and live by if they're to lead in the organization. And so we remind ourselves of the story of our strategic framework and our strategic priorities. And tonight we focus on reimagined learning.
Yep.
Jenny?
Thank you, Dr. Champion. Good evening, everyone. So we jump into our strategic framework tonight. I just want to start by saying that it is actually a joy to be in Klein ISD in this season of embracing and living by our shared vision of promise to purpose. And it's a privilege to get to do that with so many amazing promise to purpose investors. As Dr. Champion mentioned, as we are focusing the next 3 months as an organization on our strategic priorities, we're kicking it off this month with a focus on reimagined learning, and specifically the 3 areas that our strategic planning team worked to gather all sorts of feedback from every single campus in the district, from all of our departments, as well as thousands of community and student voices around these ideas of personalized learning, flexible and challenging curriculum, and standards-based evaluation. And many of us were together this weekend, and we had the opportunity to hear from a speaker who really honed in on this notion that bold projects and new ideas will belong to those who can blend passion, reason, and courage, and a personal commitment to their ideals. And of course, in Klein ISD, we call our personal commitment our promise to students. And because we are a district, as our distinguished alumnus shared tonight, where good is never good enough, we definitely honor our heritage, our traditions, and we keep leveling up for the benefit of every student in our system. The good news is that reimagined learning is definitely already in progress in Klein ISD. So just a quick few celebrations around the work that's happening in campuses all over Klein ISD. First of all, we're excited that we launched several new pathways for students in 17-18, including our advanced nursing pathway, global business, automotive technology, electrical technology, and advanced manufacturing, which were all new for students in 17-18. We are also in the midst right now of preparing for the launch of new pathways in 18-19, one of them being an early college high school that's an honors college. So we're looking forward to that. We also celebrate that we have more students than ever participating in advanced coursework, whether that's advanced placement, IB, dual credit. We have an accelerated math pilot that has expanded to 6 more campuses and to the 4th grade, as well as we've launched an 8th grade biology pilot, which is exciting. And our growing partnership with the College Board has resulted in Klein ISD being one of 15 districts nationwide selected to participate in the AP pilot, one of 10 districts nationwide selected to participate in the AP SAT Ambassador Program, and we now offer our students an AP Capstone Diploma distinction. Additionally, we celebrate progress that's made with regards to student growth, and particularly tonight, we want to celebrate that in 2017 at Klein Forest High School, we had an increase in participation in advanced placement exams of 54%, and still also had an increase in performance of 5%. So there's lots of great things that are already underway with regards to reimagining learning in Klein ISD. And yet, because we are very serious about the word every in our promise to purpose vision, there is more work to be done to improve outcomes for every student. So we continue to live into our mission, particularly with a focus on continuous improvement. You'll see that it's always our aim to gather feedback from every voice, to build strategic partnerships, and to foster a culture of learning. And to that end, we built a strategic partnership with TASA, who in the spring conducted a curriculum management audit, a deficit external audit, with the goal of providing further direction around continuous improvement, particularly of our curriculum and the systems that support that. We are fortunate, as you all know, board, to have Kay Coleman, who was the lead auditor for the project in the district recently, and she shared with us some of her observations regarding celebrations that won't be captured in the written report, as well as some of the key findings. Let's take a look at that.
We're grateful to your team that the scope of your work included visiting every single Klein ISD campus, nearly 1,000 classrooms, examining over 3,200 student work samples, surveying and interviewing over 3,600 folks, including parents, students, and educators, and reviewing over 1,400 documents ranging from board policy to finance reports to job descriptions to the facilities to department and campus plans to the curriculum scope and sequence.
Y'all did a thorough review. Now we know that this is what we call a deficit audit, which means the focus of the audit is telling us exactly what needs to be improved. For all of our awesome educators out there, can you give us a quick overview of some of the findings for our improvement?
Absolutely. It's a comprehensive audit, as you said, but here's a few key areas for improvement that are in the audit. The emphasis on equity and your recently developed mission statement is a great thing. Significant gaps exist between all students and students of poverty, English language learners, and special ed students. Curriculum in intermediate and high school core content areas, as well as the district assessment program, needs to be improved. A comprehensive professional learning plan for the entire district and every employee needs to be strengthened and aligned to student need. Board policies and the roles and responsibilities of employees in the district need to be further refined.
Thanks, Kay. And since we know that this is a deficit audit and all the great things our educators are doing every single day won't appear in the final report, could you also please give us a quick overview of all the things we're doing well as a system?
Certainly. There is just lots to celebrate in that area. We were particularly impressed with the direction the district has been moving in the last 12 months. The establishment of guiding coalitions and targeted plans to address student equity issues. The collaborative design of Promise to Purpose strategic plan designed around those 3 district strategic priorities: reimagine learning, cultivate talent, and build community. Increase visibility and support of central office staff in supporting campuses. Changes to the org chart and campus and department planning practice are off to a strong start and need to continue. Writing work samples. For us, this was really a big thing. As we looked at those writing work samples, we look at samples of kids' work all over the country. And in this place, in this district, pre-K through 12, we saw samples of kids' writing that were beyond what we normally see. It wouldn't be throwaway writing, as we say. It's really thoughtful writing where kids were asked to defend what they said, what they were speaking to, and it goes on. So that's a really big celebration. And then, of course, you have a comprehensive financial audits report that the district has been fiscally sound.
That's great.
Thank you, Kay. It's our joy and privilege to continue our Promise to Purpose work to improve every aspect of our system, to improve student outcomes, and to better support our staff in serving our students.
We're so grateful to you and your team for being partners with us on this journey from Promise to Purpose for every student. Thank you so much.
So the draft is still in, the report is still in draft form, but we look forward to receiving the final report in the next few weeks. But there are some key recommendations that we did want to just share tonight that pertain to the strategic priority Reimagine Learning. First of all, we have been directed that we need to develop and implement a comprehensive curriculum management system that coordinates and focuses all the curriculum management functions within departments and schools. We also need to work on deeply aligning our benchmark assessments and resources so that they align to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. We also need to make sure that our curriculum documents are aligned to the content, context, and cognitive rigor with high-stakes assessment, and we need to make sure that the tool that the teachers are able to access for the curriculum is redesigned so it's more accessible. So our teaching and learning team is clearly already at work on all of these recommendations. Particularly, we've been exploring the balance between what you can see here is depicted as a traditional model of curriculum design where you focus on delivery and design for both the written, taught, and assessed curriculum, but also thinking forward to the future with personalized learning, the flexible and challenging curriculum, and standards-based evaluation, working to ensure that we have not only a guaranteed and viable curriculum, but we also have one that is innovative and is based on a mastery mindset. And so to that end, we've launched the Curriculum Refresh, which will be our project for not only developing that clear theory of action for the future of Klein ISD with regards to curriculum instruction and assessment, but will also ensure that we do have a guaranteed and viable curriculum for students that leads to increased pathways for student success. Our curriculum refresh phases will go through 3 phases as we work to make sure that we accomplish this for our students. In phase 1, we'll be aligning and defining essential standards, of course, writing the curriculum, making sure that we're engaging all of our educators, especially our teachers, in the design work and in the feedback loops, and then making sure that we have the professional learning in place to support teachers and being able to implement the curriculum in phase 2. Also, we'll be able to make sure that all of our stakeholders are aware of what's going on, our parents, our students, and again, always having this ongoing professional learning to support implementation. And then in phase 3, of course, we'll be looking at the data and making any revisions based on the data to provide additional professional learning or make adjustments to the written curriculum itself.
And one of the pieces we always ask ourselves is by what method will we know that we have been successful? And as the board knows, because you adopted these measures, some of the ones that relate specifically to Reimagine Learning include our academic growth year to year. You know that one of our primary measures is ensuring that every student makes at least a year's worth of growth in a year's worth of time. But other things include pieces like campus department district plans, FAFSA completion rate, stakeholder feedback surveys, and senior exit surveys. All of those pieces are in that slate of aspirational measures and indicators of success for our school system, and those are the measures by which we will know that we're being successful around Reimagine Learning. And with that concludes our report tonight. As you know, we begin and end everything in Klein ISD with a singular purpose, which is that every student enters with a promise and exits with a purpose. And we look forward to continuing this work. Next month, we'll be talking about Cultivate Talent. Holdsworth team will be here, and we will bring some additional pieces from the curriculum audit as well. Any questions we can answer?
Mr. Simchak?
Somebody want to go first? Thank you very much, Dr. McGowan. And Dr. Champion, the work to be done, is that going to require resources from a budget standpoint that we haven't included, or we're comfortable with our current budget to capture all cost, external consulting costs, if there may be some, or taking current classroom teachers and bringing them in for meetings for this? Are we comfortable with our?
I would predict there will be some budgetary requirements as we move forward. I've worked with Thomas and now with Dan to identify some potential funding sources within our already adopted budget that for us to make the process work. If not, frankly, there are some things, as you know, when you start on an improvement plan, you have a plan for where you want to go, and sometimes things come up, and so we have identified some of those contingencies, and if need be, we would come back to the board with some budget revisions. Yeah. Is there anything else on that?
No, we're thankful in Teaching and Learning to have a great partnership with our finance team, and so we did plan for a significant amount of funds to be spent on this project over the next several years, and we hope, to Dr. Champion's point, that it will be sufficient for the project, but if it's not, then we'll either look to reallocate additional funds to this purpose, or we'll think about what some things we might be willing to give up so that we can continue forward with this work.
So we've seen a draft, we've received what we expected. I think everyone gets what's called a deficit audit.
Correct.
And of course, no one wants to think in terms of deficit, but that's really a good message. It's something that we can build on. I think evidence tonight with our speaker, Judge Hine, and a month ago with Lieutenant Colonel Hunt indicates that whatever we've been doing over the last 20, 30 years has produced some outstanding students that did leave here with a strong purpose.
Yes.
And I think it's I think it's good for the district. Let me ask you this, and I know this is our first time, but so we're going to go forward with our improvement plans, and then you'll be able to capture data that looks at before and after and so on and so forth. Is there any rule of thumb in the education industry, if I may, on how often an audit like this is conducted? Is it 5 years, 10 years?
Yes, it does vary, but typically it is every 5 to 10 years.
What did this cost us from a budgetary standpoint?
I believe it was nearly $150,000.
Pretty good deal, actually.
Yes. Compared to other audits that we've looked at, it was a very good deal, especially for the thorough work that was provided to us with the recommendations in the report.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of our excellent finance department, next on the agenda is public hearing of the financial integrity rating system.
Yes, Ms. Audrey Ambridge is here, our Executive Director of Financial Services. She's going to provide an overview of the first report and explain the district's rating and allow for any public comment. Audrey?
Yes, I will. All right, good evening, President Pilkington, members of the board, Dr. Champion, Ms. Spalding, and guests. Each year, the Texas Education Agency, trying to get this to click. Just roll it out, right? Thanks, Jenny.
And we're done.
That's right, that's it. Next.
Okay. Thanks, Denise. Okay. Each year, the Texas Education Agency issues the school's Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, also known as the FIRST rating. Upon issuance, districts are required to report the results in a public hearing, and I have the pleasure tonight to report to all of you the school's first rating for Klein ISD. Okay. We are in the 15th year of the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. It was adopted during the 1999 legislative session and was implemented in 2003 for the 2001 and 2 fiscal year. The intent of the legislative action was to expand the public education accountability system into the financial services area. The primary goal of Schools First is to achieve quality performance in the management of a district's financial resources, a goal made more significant due to the complexity of the accounting associated with our school finance system. The numerical score was received this year is based on the 15 indicators listed here and also included in the written report. And the total possible points was out of 100 points. The current FIRST rating system assigns one of our 4 financial accountability ratings, as you see here, superior to substandard, and is calculated from our PEIMS data, which is the Public Education Information Management System, and it's also calculated based on our annual financial report. So I am pleased to report that Klein ISD has received the rating of superior with a score of 94 points for the 2017 reporting year.
Good.
Yep. Any questions?
That's great.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
So,
if there is any
actually an opportunity for any public comments. I know we talked earlier about the public comments, but this would be an opportunity if there's anyone who'd like to address the board regarding the first rating. Okay.
And so, Audrey, to put it simply, the state of Texas says that Klein ISD is superior in its management of the community's fiscal resources.
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Thank you, state of Texas. All
Yes.
right.
Thank you, Ms. Albert.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Simchak, do we have a report from the audit committee?
Mr. President, the audit committee met last month on September 11th and reviewed the audit plan with our audit firm Tidwell and Weaver. The plan includes an audit of the district's basic financial statements and supplementary information in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. Scope of the work will include evaluation of our internal control structure, determination of compliance with related legal issues, evaluations of errors and frauds, substantive task work on account balances in federal programs. The annual report and single audit report will be presented in January at our regular board meeting. Committee also received an update on department and campus audits from our internal auditor. 16 campus activity funds were completed, 3 have been audited, intermediate number 10, and an independent contractor audit are in progress. 4 departments have been completed, with 1 department audit still in progress. Thank you. Any
Exciting.
questions? Or that's your question.
Any questions? All right. Well, annually, an announcement must be made at a board meeting regarding the status of board members' continuing education requirements. So I'm pleased tonight to announce that all trustees have met this requirement for continuing education for this year.
The Board of Trustees will now conduct first reading proposed modifications to local board policy. There are 2 sections for review. First section is in connection with TASB Legal Update 108 for policies EF, EFA, EFAA, EG, EH, EHDB, EIF, and EL. The second part is a recommendation for modification to policy FNCF. Are there any questions? Okay. Well, if no questions, we'll move on to our action items. First item for consideration is approval to set the property tax rate. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the property tax rate be established by the adoption of a tax rate of $1.43. That's $1.43, consisting of $1.04 maintenance and operations plus 39 cents debt service. Texas Tax Code, Section 26.05B of the Property Tax Code.
Okay. Is the motion to have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is the investment policy, which has 3 parts. We will take all 3 parts as one item unless any board member wishes that the board vote on them individually. Okay. May I have a motion to approve A, the adoption of the annual resolution stating that the Board of Trustees has reviewed and approved the district's investment policy and investment strategy. B, adoption of a resolution stating that the Board of Trustees has approved the investment officers, the independent sources of instruction relating to investment responsibility for the investment officers, and the investment training hours of the investment officers. And C, approval of the attached list of qualified brokers who will be authorized to engage in investment transactions with the Klein ISD as allowed in sections 2256.025 of Texas Government Code.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to just take a moment to thank the Finance Department for the transparency and the data that's presented. This often seems mundane and almost boring type procedural work, but we don't have to look back very far in U.S. financial history at the Enrons, MCIs, and that, where boards were completely blindsided or negligent in their work. So this is important work, and I'd like to thank our Finance Department for their transparency.
Double that. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the consideration for approval of a resolution authorizing participation in the tax pool investment pool and designating the authorized representatives of Klein ISD to make investment transactions with tax pool investment pool, and an approval of an authorized representative ad forum to authorize additional employees to make investment transactions with Lone Star Investment Pool. May I have a motion?
I'll make second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
And I abstain.
1 abstention. Okay. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next is the approval of a resolution honoring Principals Month. May I have a motion?
I'm so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll now consider the resolution designating Texas Education Human Resources Day. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Those in favor. Motion carries 5-0. The next item is the resolution regarding hazardous traffic conditions as required by Texas Education Code Section 42.155D.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the approval of an amendment to the superintendent's contract. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees add paragraph 3.11 of the superintendent's contract to provide as supplemental salary an amount equal to the superintendent's portion of the monthly contribution to the Texas Teacher Retirement System in the percentage amount required by the TRS for the account of the superintendent as additional salary supplement paid to the superintendent by regular monthly payment installments to be reported as credible compensation to TRS to the extent applicable.
I second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is consideration of a proposed termination of a term contract. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees propose the termination of term contract employee Wallace Keys for good cause, and further move that the board authorize the superintendent to provide Mr. Keys notice of same, and further authorize the superintendent to take actions related to this matter as discussed in closed session tonight.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is the approval of the request for a class size waiver exception from the Texas Education Agency regarding French Elementary School and Kreinhop Elementary School. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Now we'll have the approval and ratification of the contract with Satterfield and Ponquis for emergency removal of the brick veneer from Hildebrandt Intermediate. May I have a motion?
I so moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is the project initiation for the secure front entrance project. May I have a motion?
I so moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the approval of construction documents for the Howdy Elementary School and Niche Elementary School track additions. May I have a motion?
Make that motion?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the Klein Forest High School Center Point Energy blanket easement for electrical service installation. May I have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is to change the dates for the January, March, and April board meetings in 2018 to January 16, 2018, which will be a Tuesday, March 5, 2018, and April 10, 2018, which is also a Tuesday. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Quick question, the April change is due to, is that NASB?
We have, yeah, NASB, correct.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So moving on to the consent agenda, are there any items that you wish to remove from the consent agenda? I'll ask you first, Ms. Reitmeyer.
No.
Mr. Anderson.
No.
Mr.
None.
Soucek. And I have none. So moving with those, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. So we are now ready to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on September 18th, 2017. May I have a motion?
Make that motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to calendar review, please note the following events. Tomorrow, we tee off for the Klein Education Foundation Golf Tournament at the Glenlock Golf Club. So come on out and support the foundation. Be sure to stop by. Let's see, so that'll be not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, October 18th, for the Klein Kane High School dedication at 6 p.m. And the Founders Fall Festival is set for October 24 at 5 p.m. in the Klein Multipurpose Center. We're now ready for board comments. Start with you, Ms. Reitmeyer.
All right. About 70% of our population do not have children in their home. And in our community, I think most of them were at Klein Kane on Sunday. Larry Gatlin had a concert in Klein Kane, and all those senior citizens, my friends, just thought the school was beautiful and all of that. One comment was they would like the word auditorium to be Fine Arts Center, and I invited her to be on the next bond committee, and that she could have a voice there.
That's beautiful.
So it was a great event.
That's great.
And it was for Harvey relief.
Ms. Arlona.
On a fine arts note, I wanted to mention that we're now into band season, and everyone is getting very excited about all the band competitions, and have the opportunity to see several of our bands at football games, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing year.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, lots of stuff everyone sees around the district, but my comments are around being being around a lot of other school boards over the past weekend and just taking note of how grateful I am that, one, I live in this district, and two, that I'm a board member for this district, and then three, for the things that we do, whatever issues we have are, I think that we do a very good job in comparison on all kinds of fronts, from facilities to financials to all types of other board activities, that you just get a sense that I'm just very grateful for the way we operate our district.
First, just kind of I guess a request, Dr. Champion. In Dr. McGowan's presentation, there was a bullet point regarding increase in number of students in AP classes. I know that, I don't know, 10 years or so, a reporter from Washington Post made a lot of news, national media news, that put the focus on the number of children taking AP, even though there was a large, significant percentage that didn't score 3 or above. So there seemed to be some argument within the profession as to the validity of taking the class. If you had like 30 kids take the class and nobody passed the test, is it still benefit that child from an educational standpoint? So I'd like to see, it could be a written report or just a comment back to the board. But I think that, my opinion is, I think that's good that more students are being exposed to that higher degree of rigor, even though for reasons that we may or may not be able to control, they may not test that high. I think the value of the education is still there, but I'd like to see where what the current thinking is on that. And then just an overall comment regarding, going back to this curriculum audit and how important it is for a district, and a credit to this board and to our administration to take this mature view, knowing that when we requested this audit, we knew it would be a deficit audit. And I think our community has the maturity to see that this is good. There's going to be what some people may see as negative reporting, but that's an opportunity for us to benchmark and then improve, which I think is good. And within that context, just a reminder to all of us, if the state of Texas economy was to be pulled out of the U.S. aggregate, it's the 12th largest economy in the world. It's larger than the economy of Russia, which we often see in the national news, Russia. Russia doesn't stand, I don't know, I think they're down number 33, they're number 88 in per capita GDP. So this is a rather significant place in the world, Texas. Klein ISD, just out of coincidence, has 1% of all students in the state of Texas. 5 million students, we have 50,000, which is a significant number. The world is fed by 2% of American farmers. So 1% is a significant number, and if we can show strides of improvement and take a leadership position in that as a response in our curriculum audit, for example, that places us in a place of prominence and a place where people are going to observe us and say, what are they doing there? So, and everybody knows every day we're facing competition. So we have to improve, just like all other economies do. So a credit and kudos to the administration for following up on this. Thank you.
So I have a couple of quick things. The I had a board member ask me about the number of concerts slated for Klein Kane's Auditorium or Fine Arts Center. Y'all know that is part of our efforts to help the Centrum that flooded. And so we are pleased to be able to assist in that way. It's great. And speaking of Kane, I know you mentioned it, Mr. Pilkington, but we do have that dedication coming up on October 18th at 6 o'clock. And it's a great opportunity to honor a great man and the incredible work that was done here in Klein ISD that we to Mr. Zimzak's point, get the opportunity to build upon at this point. I would go just a step further, that the audit being a part of the work that we're doing is important. But that by itself isn't the power. It's the combination of the community rallying around our strategic framework and priorities, developing those and saying this is what we value. Tying that to the continuous improvement efforts that we're doing is one of the reasons that Klein ISD, I don't want anybody to miss that there were 10 districts in the nation selected to be pilots for the ambassadors program. There were 15 districts in the nation selected for the College Board. That was the AP pilot, because we're continuing to move to the forefront of what we believe, and it's acts of courage, and it's acts to the speaker's point earlier, servant leadership that's causing that to happen. And so, and my last point is this, that none of that happens without a high quality principal in every single campus. And I want to pause just for a moment, because we celebrated principals, and thank y'all for that. That I am so proud of this group of principals that we have here in Klein ISD. They are outstanding servant leaders who are forever learners, and it's an honor to get to walk beside them every day.
Thank you. Ditto. No, I just, thank you, Dr. McGowan, regarding the continuous improvement. Actually, your last words, forever learners, actually kind of goes there. I see where we're going with the P2P. It's, we're not just trying to go to excellence, we're going through excellence. We're setting things up here now, from everything I can see, this is just going to be continuing to build on. And as we get to things, I see your golden thread of innovation of just, I love that term actually, just the ability of that to adapt, to overcome, to improvise is just something that's been one of the more impressive things of me, that there's no way anybody can say we're stagnant. I mean, we took something that was great, building everything on what Dr. Kana did and just making it better, which, I mean, that's what really is exciting to me, and glad to be a part of it. One last thing, you are coming up on 1 year anniversary, which means we have another election. Next month, we will have a new board member with us. So early voting starts, I think, the 23rd, but let's not forget about voting. Many times people often forget about for the Board of Trustees, because it's one at the ends. It's a nonpartisan election, but I would encourage everyone to please get out, vote. We've got a lot of fine candidates. We'd be happy to have any one of them, but just please, get out, vote, and so next month we'll be welcoming our new board member.
And I won't be new anymore.
Yeah.
That's right. You'll be old.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I've got that covered.
We will be going into closed session. When we come out, we will not have any actionable items. But as provided by the Texas Government Code, the Board of Trustees will now go into closed session in accordance with sections 551.071, private consultation of the board's attorney regarding all matters as authorized by law, including board governance, and 551.074, discussing employment, evaluation, or discipline of personnel, including board governance and including superintendent evaluation and contract. It is now 9:30 p.m. The time is now 9:50. If there's no objections, this meeting is adjourned.